624, Elvis coming up at 635. We're going to be talking with attorney Jack Thompson from Coral Gables, Florida. We've got another video gamer who went off his rocker, a 17-year-old who killed mom, shot and wounded dad because they took away his Halo video game, Halo 3.
Is that a shoot-'em-up game?
Yeah, it's a first-person. It is a first-person shooter game. You don't play Halo? What is wrong with you? You'd be good at Halo. You know who practiced on Halo? Remember Malvo, the inside the Beltway shooter? Yeah. That's how he developed his shooting proficiency.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Halo 3. But if your kid's got Halo 3, you probably don't want to take it away from him. You got to see the picture of this guy too. I'm going to put this up on the blog after the show.
He's kind of a.
He is. You want to talk? Just looking at him, you can tell there's something wrong. He's got that. For those who saw the movie Full Metal Jacket, if you remember who Private Pyle was. He has the look that Private Pyle had in the men's room before he blew his own head off. After he shot his DI.
Big old wide-eyed, bright-eyed, stupid look.
That psychotic look that you just, man, you don't want to see on somebody.
Guy's getting super stupid, wasn't
he? 6:30, 17-year-old shoots and kills his mother, shoots and wounds his dad. The reason? Because they took away Halo 3. Here to talk about it with us this morning, my friend Jack Thompson. Jack, welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Pat.
Glad to have you on board. Now, Jack, before we get into this story here, I've had you on the program going back years now, and we've talked about video gaming. And
February 1993, the day Janet Reno was nominated to be Attorney General of the United States.
Do we have an anniversary coming up? Should we celebrate?
Yeah.
What's suitable? Okay, let me now. As you know, I have 5 children. My son Michael, I think I told you the story over the summer. He plays video games. One of the ones that he plays with his friends is Medal of Honor. Okay, it's a first-person shooter game. And I took him. We went to a machine gun range. We were invited to fire fully automatic weapons. And the first thing that amazed me is when we got to the table, my son knew the names of all the weapons, and I'm there like, well, how do you know that? And he said, because these are the weapons we select on the game. You got to pick your weapon before you play. But he knew them by name. And I've been around guns. A lot of them I had no idea what they were. I couldn't tell you if you pointed to them. Okay, other than it's a gun, and it's probably a fully automatic gun because we're at a machine gun range. Now Michael has up until that point he had fired some firearms. Very limited experience, though. What amazed me was...
How old is he?
He was 10 at the time, okay? What amazed me was once we started firing these fully automatic weapons, machine guns, and he understood, got a grasp of how the machine gun would rise up on you, he had, and I had never fired a machine gun up until then, he had better proficiency at the range than I did, okay?
Right.
Now, let me move you ahead to Christmas break. My father-in-law was here, and he brought a couple of handguns. We went to handgun range. We had a .22 rimfire, and we had a 40 cal. I think I said Smith & Wesson on air. It was wrong. It was 40 cal Browning that we took to the range, and it was like a police range, you know, where they give you the body cut out, and you put it down the string on the range, and you get a chance to shoot at it. With the .22, because there's relatively little recoil at all, he just, that was a breeze for him. But I thought the 40 cal would give him some problems because of the kick that the gun's got. But I tell you what, at 15 yards, there were 10 rounds in the clip, probably 9 of them in and around the heart area, and the one, I think just for fun, he put it through the eye on the target. And I'm stunned. He just turned 11, but I am stunned by his shooting proficiency, given that he has not been around firearms as much as I have, and I got to chalk it up to the video game.
On December 1, 1997, 14-year-old Michael Carneal walked into his Heath High School in West Paducah, Kentucky, with a .22 caliber gun in his backpack. He had never fired a handgun before in his life. He opened fire on a moving group of students who had just broken up from a preschool Bible study. Mm-hmm. He fired 8 shots. He hit all 8 targets, all with potential kill shots, many of them in the head, the rest of them in the upper abdomen, killing 3 students and wounding 5 others. Yeah. I represented the 3 sets of parents of the 3 girls shot and killed by Michael Carneal in Paducah, Kentucky, and that was when I got involved in the horrific pattern we're now seeing with increasing velocity, and that is teenagers who kill people because they've trained to do it on violent video games. Carneal's marksmanship was off the scale, as your son's was as to accuracy, but what's even more disturbing is that he fired 1 shot per target, which is completely counterintuitive. Firearm experts will tell you shoot until you see your target down on the ground if you're a novice, but he fired once per target, and he learned that playing the game Doom. You get extra points for headshots.
Yep.
And so now we fast forward to Elyria, Ohio.
Hold on to that, because I want to get back to my son for a minute, okay? Now, as I mentioned, we've got Medal of Honor, which is a World War II. It's soldiers fighting game, okay? And I've watched this. I've looked at it. I didn't just, turn it over and let him play it, okay?
Right.
But he told me something, what was it, Saturday, which sort of has me rethinking this whole thing and thinking, maybe my buddy Thompson's really onto something this time.
Of course I am.
He said, Dad, I was playing Friday, he says, my chest got tight. Mm-hmm. And he said, my heart started beating faster. And he said, for a minute there, he said, I thought I was really killing people.
Right.
And that's got me rethinking this whole thing, because it looks to me as a parent like an innocent game. And I'm thinking, maybe Madden 2009 is a better way to go right now. Have you heard this before?
Oh, sure. I mean, that's the physiological response it's supposed to have. That's why the military, Pat, as you know, uses their own video games as well as modified versions of the commercial games to get new recruits to commit the act of killing. And in layman's terms, what happens is if mom and dad raised Johnny right not to be a killer, he goes to the Army and he's reluctant to pull a trigger and shoot a target. However, what the Defense Department has done, they've set up the Institute for Creative Technologies, where they actually create games that they then release as commercial games. But what they do is they use them to get a recruit to be willing to pull the trigger in a virtual reality, so that if he sees no one really dies and he's not in any real peril. So if they get in a combat setting, the brain basically flips and says, well, I'm just in a video game, and therefore I'm not at any risk, and I'm therefore a more efficient killing machine. The problem with this is we've got now tens of millions of teenage boys, some of whom are more at risk than others, who have become virtual Manchurian candidate children who are flipping out in schools. In this instance in Ohio, in his home, where he shot both his parents, because they took away his Halo 3, and the judge, will get to what he said, tied the killing to the game.
Yeah, now, by the way, and just as a little side note here, you'll talk about this more a little bit later. Halo, that's been in the news before. I remember the Beltway Sniper. I remember Malvo. That's how he developed his shooting proficiency.
2 weeks before we even heard of Muhammad and Malvo, and there were 13 people by that time who had been shot at and killed in the D.C. area by the, quote, D.C. Beltway Sniper. Matt Lauer asked me on the set of the Today Show, who do you think the Beltway Sniper is? Matt, given what we're learning, given the body count nature of this, given the fact that there was a clue left at a school shooting by Malvo, again, we didn't know who it was, that it was a video game crazed person, I said, we're going to find probably that the trigger man is a teenager who's been trained on video games. They caught Muhammad and Malvo. 3 months later on NBC Dateline, Stone Phillips said the following: Muhammad, satisfied that Malvo was able to kill based upon the training he had given him on a rifle range, found that Malvo was yet unwilling to kill. So he forced Malvo to play the Microsoft game Halo to break down his inhibition to kill, and it worked, close quote. And the reason why Muhammad knew to do that was he was an Army soldier on a sniper base, and the Army was using Halo to desensitize, to break down new recruits to get them to be snipers. And maybe we're coming up on a break, and after the break we'll then now tell what I think is one of the more disturbing incidents of this, and you're going to see some incredible developments on that. This story now about what happened in Ohio and the conviction and the video game connection is all around the globe. It's even reported in the Times of London as to what the judge said about the video game component of this.
More from our guest, Jack Thompson. Your calls, if you'd like to get involved, 460-1170, 460-1170. Do your kids have Halo 3? You might want to be a little cautious about taking it away, or maybe you should have never given it to them.